An American family decided to escape their routine by vacationing amidst the stunning vistas of Italy. Ben and Louise, along with their 11-year-old daughter, Agnes, settled into a picturesque resort. Yet they found themselves struggling to fully embrace the experience, their only acquaintances being a dull Danish couple that offered little in the way of stimulating conversation. Agnes clung tightly to her stuffed rabbit, Hoppy, a source of comfort she wasn't ready to part with despite her age. When Hoppy went missing, panic set in. Relief came when a charismatic British couple, Patty and Ciara, appeared with a lost toy in hand. They introduced their mute son, Ant, and over lunch, the two families bonded. Patty extended an invitation to visit their countryside estate, a gesture that lingered in Ben and Louise's minds long after they returned to London. Back home, Ben grappled with career disappointments, while Louise pondered Agnes's dependence on her stuffed companion. A postcard arrived from Patty and Ciara, renewing their invitation. Despite initial hesitations about spending time with near strangers, they decided a getaway might be just what they needed. The family's arrival at the remote estate was met with warm hospitality. Dinner featured a lavish goose prepared by Patty, who overlooked or ignored Louise's vegetarianism. She forced a polite bite but discreetly discarded it when the hosts weren't looking. As the evening unfolded, Ant silently shadowed Ben, revealing his severed tongue in a chilling moment that Ben couldn't quite process. That night, Louise was unsettled by the sound of Ant's muffled wails, but Patty and Ciara assured her it was nothing unusual. The next day's hike through the woods was marred by subtle oddities. Patty roughly moved Ant aside to make room for Agnes on a swing, a gesture that felt off. Later, a swim in a nearby lake did little to ease Louise's growing discomfort. That evening, Patty and Ciara insisted on taking Ben and Louise to a local restaurant, leaving the children under the watchful eye of a babysitter. Mujid. Dinner conversation took an awkward turn as Patty and Ciara openly discussed their vibrant sex life, making overly familiar jokes that left Ben shifting uncomfortably. Back at the estate, Ant led Agnes to a secret room where he showed her a collection of watches inscribed with unfamiliar names and messages in Danish. His scarred torso spoke volumes of unspoken horrors. Louise's unease peaked when she found Agnes sleeping beside Ciara in the middle of the night. Determined to leave, she convinced Ben to depart at first light. They attempted a quiet exit, but a series of obstacles, Agnes's missing Hoppy, a flat tire, and the sudden appearance of their hosts thwarted their plans. Confronted, Louise expressed her discomfort, but Ciara diffused the tension with a tearful story about their deceased daughter, Mary. Sympathy outweighed suspicion, and the family agreed to stay a bit longer. Patty took Ben out for a peculiar hunting trip, encouraging him to release primal screams into the empty landscape. Meanwhile, Ciara's grip on Agnes tightened, her behavior oscillating between overly nurturing and subtly controlling. A joint family lunch escalated when Patty harshly criticized Ant during a dance performance, revealing a volatile temper that frightened Agnes. As night fell, Ant covertly led Agnes to a hidden basement. There, the horrifying truth was unveiled through photographs of previous families and children, each one a victim of Patty and Ciara's twisted desire to replace their lost daughter. Ant conveyed, as best he could, that his own parents had been murdered and his tongue cut out by the couple. Agnes alerted her parents, showing them the damning evidence. Realizing the imminent danger, they concocted a hasty lie about Agnes starting her first period to excuse an immediate departure. Their escape was blocked, literally and figuratively. Patty and Ciara's friendly facades dropped, revealing malicious intent as they held the family at gunpoint, demanding money and attempting to drug Agnes. A desperate struggle ensued. Louise slashed Patty's face with a hidden box cutter, while Ben fought off an armed accomplice who emerged from the shadows. The family's fight for survival became a brutal dance of resilience versus ruthlessness. They barricaded themselves inside the house, every creak of the floorboards signaling possible doom. In a final confrontation on the rooftop, Ciara met her end after a fierce struggle with Louise. Injured but undeterred, the family made their way down, only to be cornered by a disfigured and enraged Paddy. His obsession with replacing his daughter fixated on Agnes. In a moment of courage, Agnes plunged a syringe of ketamine into Paddy's side. Seizing the opportunity, Ant released years of pent-up fury, ending Paddy's life with a decisive blow from a heavy brick. With dawn breaking, the family, now including Ant, fled the estate in the accomplice's abandoned car. The winding road away from the nightmare felt like a passage to a new beginning. Agnes handed Hoppy to Ant, a silent gesture of shared healing as they drove towards safety, leaving the horrors of the estate behind them.